Several weeks ago, Sony refreshed the FX3, giving the camera a minor upgrade focused on usability and reliability rather than a significant overhaul of the camera's core capabilities. So what does this mean for the FX2 then? Will this be a bold update or something yawn-inspiring like a revamp of the menu system? Well, we've got the details, and if you like your camera news with a side of sarcasm and you're serious about staying ahead of the latest camera gear, then hit that subscribe button. I'll make it more interesting than reading a newspaper upside down. A few weeks ago, Sony provided us with a wonderful update to the FX3, a camera that's been out for the better part of 4 years. Now, to call this a minor update is a bit of an overstatement. I'm going to save you a lot of time from having to watch all the reviews about the FX3, which they're calling the FX3A. Don't even bother wasting your time on those reviews. The key changes include a higher resolution LCD, an updated USB-C port, and the removal of NFC and IR remote functionality. Which does beg the question, if the FX3 and the FX3A got a minor update, so minor that I didn't even bother covering it in a video, well, what kind of update are we getting in the FX2? And if you've been counting, this is my second video on the FX2, so that tells you there's a little bit more excitement about a potential update in the FX2. But let's go ahead and cover off the specifications that we know, and then we'll get into the bold part. We have to build upon it. I can't just jump to it. You just got to get there slowly because it all builds on part of that story. And the FX2 is very Sony. Now, one big update that the FX2 is getting over the FX3 is that it's not getting that 12 megapixel sensor that we see in the FX3, the one that's supposed to be more sensitive. Instead, the FX2 is getting a new sensor. Well, at least it's new to the FX line. It's actually the same sensor that's found in the Sony a7 IV and the a7C II, giving it a resolution of 33 megapixels. And it also gets that AI processing chip that debuted with the Sony a7R5. Where Sony continues to improve upon the AI autofocus enhancements, hopefully giving us some predictive subject tracking like we see in the Canon EOS R5 and the EOS R1. The FX2 gets a mechanical shutter, but it's the video modes that start to give us an indication of what we can expect to see in the FX2 over the FX3, or the lack of differences. So in terms of video, the only thing that we have now, again, thanks to Andrea Pizzini of Sony Alpha Rumors and the YouTube channel by the very same name, Andrea Pizzini, well, he's telling us it's doing 4K up to 60 frames per second. Now, this is pretty common in any camera from around almost, well, $1,800 up to $3,000 to see 4K up to 60 frames per second. But what Andrea is calling out is that it's a Super 35 mode. That means cropped. That means a 1.5 times crop. Now, I like the Super 35 mode. I think it's very cinema-esque. It works. But please tell me that it also does full sensor readout. And not just full sensor readout, but maybe open gate as well. I think we're ready for that. I mean, Panasonic, God bless their hearts, they have so many different video resolutions and frame rates, and even include open gate. So Sony, we're definitely ready for open gate. Again, thanks Panasonic for pushing that one. I really do hope that we see a few more resolutions and frame rates here, giving us a lot more options with XF AVC-S, XF HEVC-S, which is H.264 and H.265, and 10-bit 422, 10-bit 420, and not limit 10-bit 422 to specific modes. Give us full control over that, and that's kind of what we're looking for. Now, in terms of audio, this one has me excited. The FX2 is supposed to get 32-bit audio. The Canon EOS R5 Mark II, it's a camera I absolutely love, but the audio has been frustrating me on this camera. It's almost as though the camera's designed audio to be terrible. You really have to know your stuff, and I get it, it's a 5 Series camera, but for a lot of photographers, it's enough to learn log on the R5 Mark II. But then to master audio as well, having 32-bit audio, it really saves your bacon when you get into a situation where it's very, very quiet and then things start to get loud, and before you know it, it's too loud and it destroys the audio. Even if your subject itself is not speaking too loud, but the ambient noise just makes the audio useless, that's where 32-bit audio comes in. So that is one of the capabilities I'm excited about here. Video specifications, we need more. We need more legs to really gather together how much of a difference between the FX2 and the FX3 is. And I'm willing to bet, dollars to donuts, that we ain't going to see a whole lot of difference here. Not a whole lot. I mean, the minor update to the FX3 kind of tells us a lot here. And in terms of the ports and storage options, the FX2 gets the exact same options that we see in the FX3. Now the price point, it does vary depending on how much of the camera's, well, sourced and made in Japan versus China. We're predicting a price point of around $3,000 to $3,500, and the announcement is taking place on May the 28th. Now we don't know the time zone or the time at this point, and the way things are looking, I'm not going to be able to do a live stream because my week is already looking pretty busy next week, and since I don't have the time frame now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover this one for you guys, but I'm doing my very best. I've already got the smart pre-order links in the description down below, these guys right here. So if you are interested in pre-ordering the FX2, please go ahead and copy down these links, put them in your browser, bookmark them. They could save you anywhere from 3 to 35 seconds, depending on how quick you are with the mouse, and they'll show you all different options available at Adorama, B&H, and Amazon.com. It really does help support this channel, provides us with a small commission back, and literally helps keep the lights on. But now let's turn our attention to, well, what really makes the FX2 a standout against the FX3. And this might be a bit surprising for some, but if you've been a long-time Sony customer, yeah, no, this makes perfect sense. I did my best to try to get an AI-generated image, but what we're getting with the FX2 over the FX3 is an integrated tilting EVF. And I'm told that this is the main reason for the camera. That larger eye cup, everything designed and made for filmmakers. So is this Sony just flooding the market with a whole bunch of different models? I mean, if you take a look at the lineup right now, we got the A7C, the A7C2, and the A7CR. Now really, the A7C2 could have replaced the A7C. And when it comes to a lot of the alpha cameras, well, we have the A7S III. And the A7S III capabilities have trickled down to a lot of the other cameras, including the A7C, the A7C2, and not so much the A7CR. It really gets its stuff from the A7R5. But the A7IV gets, well, some of the stuff that we see in the A7S III. And the FX3 is basically a video-centric version of the A7S III, the FX30, an APS-C version of the FX3, and then the FX2. You see what's going on here. What Sony believes in doing is offering so many different options that, well, like weeds in your grass, if it grows big enough, it floods out the competition. And that's essentially what Sony's looking at doing here. But is this just about that? If you're a filmmaker, then this is something you're going to understand. With my eyesight as it's starting to go, I'm having to use glasses more often than not now. And when I'm out shooting in the field, I just don't find that the LCD, no matter how big, is good enough. You get glare, and it just doesn't work as well. So quite often what I find myself doing is shooting with the EVF right up against my eye. And I find that that is incredible. The sharpness, the color, the detail, everything, no complaints. But as a filmmaker, that's not the best option. You want to be able to have a bit more flexibility with the movement of the camera. And that's why we see with some of the pro-level cameras, such as, well, the FX3, some of Canon cinema cameras, some of the Red cameras, some of the Arri cameras, what you do is you have the EVF kind of on a stalk, kind of like, well, a lobster has their eyes on a stalk. Well, the EVF comes out on a stalk, and then you have this big eye cup. And it works really, really well. Now, some of them will also have an LCD that comes out to the side. It depends on the options as to how you want to do this. But according to Sony Alpha Rumors, Andrea Pizzini, this is an integrated EVF stock and eye cover. So essentially, I'm willing to bet right now that the main difference between the FX2 and the FX3 is not going to be in the video modes. It's not going to be there. We might see a few updates. something like, ooh, look at that, I've got to get the FX2, it's got that one there, it's got that log profiler, it's got that combination of 10-bit, 422, and S-Cinetone, or whatever it is, right? It's got that combination. Maybe it might do a few of those things, but essentially, it's all about that integrated EVF, and a new type of screen and all that wonderful jazz that's really aimed at filmmakers. And it's nice that we have that XLR adapter, that handle that fits in, but this just takes that a step further and turns it more into a truly budget-oriented cinema camera. Because when the FX3 first came out, the main difference between it and the A7S III was that XLR handle, that you could plug in better audio options. But this, well, now they're taking that XLR handle and saying, well, you know, okay, we've got pretty good audio. We've got a handle that you can build other stuff off. But now let's work on that EVF, the LCD. Let's give customers that true filmmaking feel, because this is being used not just for, the FX3 is being used not just for YouTube channels, but for filmmakers. And I gotta hand it to Sony. When it comes to the FX line, I mean, the FX9, the FX6, the Venice, we all know they're good and capable. But to be able to see that at a price point of around $3,000, and sure, it's going to cost somewhere between $3,000 and $3,500, but to give us those extra capabilities, they make a huge difference. If I didn't have an EVF, if I was out shooting just using the LCD itself and using my glasses, it wouldn't be as good. I can't see as well if things are in focus. I can't. Being able to see waveforms and zebras through the EVF in complete sharpness, and that diopter really helps, that matters. That makes a huge difference in terms of what I end up with. If I just use the LCD, that's why I stopped using the LCD. It just wasn't good enough. So if you are interested in purchasing, pre-ordering the FX2, what Sony's likely going to do is they're going to announce it on the 28th, and we'll have to wait 24 hours before we can pre-order it. But if you can do me a favor, if you can go ahead and copy down the pre-order links for the FX2, the smart pre-order links, I've got them in the description, as well as what you see right here for Adorama, B&H, and Amazon.com. Copy them down and then use those to pre-order the FX2 on the day of. Honestly, it really does help this channel, keeps it going. And when I see news about the FX2, you know, it just gets me more excited to get out there and produce that content. It tells me the viewer numbers that I get from YouTube really help give me an idea of what you're interested in, but the pre-order information, that what you guys purchase through my pre-order links, that really tells me what you're interested in. It helps kind of guide what I produce. Anyhow, I want to say a big thanks for watching this video to the very end, for using my affiliate links, and for those of you that have used them in the past, thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. And you might also want to consider my my membership levels. If you click join there, you'll see one called The Insider, where I take you behind the scenes and let you know essentially how I do things. I also take your questions and turn them into videos, and I do private live streams where if you get comfortable enough, I can invite you in. If you want to be part of the live stream itself, it's private among members. You might even decide, hey, this is fun. I'll even join you on one of your live events. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.